Jay, man, I feel like I have been in a almost year journey with you, with your music, going from releases to what, the CCMAs, and now we're
Man.
talking the Junos, man. So I get to say this again. Congratulations on your nomination.
Thanks, man. Yeah, honestly, like I think you might have been the very first interview that I'd done, at least like in person for sure. So it feels like it's always like a full circle moment.
It is, man. Like, and let's get to that grand question. How does it feel being a Juno nominee? And you should explain to people what you're nominated for.
Yeah, man, it feels crazy. Like you submit for these things like long ago. So when the nominations came out, it was like, oh my god, I forgot that we even like submitted for this. Uh, in a way of just like I was blown away. And so what I got nominated for was Country Album of the Year, which is just crazy to me. So it's for my album Spilling My Truth, and um, yeah, I remember I got a call from my manager, and she's like, "Hey, uh, can you talk for a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you go on FaceTime?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm driving in my truck. I'm not able to be on FaceTime." And she's like, "Can you pull over and get on? I want to see your face for this." And I was like, "Oh no, what did I do?" And she's like, "No, no, no, it's a good thing." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." So I pulled over into like a Timmy's parking lot or something, and I like pulled out the phone. And I was like, "Hey, like what's going on?" She's like, "I don't know if you know or you've seen, but like congratulations on your first Juno nomination." And I was like, "What the hell?" Like I was just blown away. Didn't see it coming, and then I see like I'm in this category with a bunch of my buddies and like dudes that I look up to, and like I would vote for these guys, not for this one, but I would. Yeah, but it was cool because like all of us are supportive of each other, and we're texting each other and being like, "Oh, congratulations, guys!" And I texted Jade, and I was like, "I didn't kick your butt in this," but no, no, it's awesome because it's such a, especially like Canadian country, it's such a supportive uh, community of people, and so even when you're like in the same category as other artists for like awards, you're like still sort of you want to win, you want to take home the hardware, but you're also like not really hurt if you don't because I mean most of us at least are pretty supportive of each other and we get excited that each other win. So it's yeah, it's pretty cool.
Let's talk about this album because this album to me was one of your most personal, one of the most fun, and how do I put it? It's almost like I feel like this was the right album for you to make in this point in your career because if there was ever any kind of music collection of music that reflected you, this was it, and who you are, your personality, everything.
Totally. I agree with that too. And it's funny because like normally in an album you'd be like, all right, like these are the songs that we're, working towards to put on this album and stuff. And honestly, like this one was sort of a bunch of the misfits where it was like, oh, we got all these songs recorded and we haven't released them. Like, where do we put these things? Like, what do we do with them? And so basically the idea was we have a bunch of these recordings already done. Let's just throw them together, call it an album or an EP, and let's just put it out. And it was like we did, and it ended up being like the perfect songs for this. And I think it's also uh, like there is like the the more moving and touching songs. There's the fun, joking ones. There's the drinking songs, all this stuff. And it was like they were just pieces of my life put into songs, and I mean that's what country music is. But it was just like, yeah, these are just little pieces of me that everybody gets a little bit of a glimpse into my life in a way. And it was cool because I feel like there's a lot of ups and downs in the album, and I love that. I love the that dynamic in albums where somebody can take you up so high and they can bring you right down to the bottom and everywhere in between. And I think I got that from Paisley. Paisley's always
Yeah,
really good at that, of having such different dynamics
yeah.
throughout his albums. Like he takes you through a journey. And so I think I try to take after him in that way and try to take people through a journey.
Now I'm trying to remember when we first met. What kind of work were you doing? Because you were kind of doing work and trying to do music at the same time. What was it again?
Yeah, I was still a contractor. So like I like by trade was a carpenter, but I was doing like painting and stuff at that time. And yeah, I basically like my buddies had asked me to jump on for a certain contract that they were painting like a giant like townhouse complex. So they're like, hey,
Mhm.
like they're some of my best buddies, and they're like, you want to come like work with us and for the summer? And I was like, that sounds nice. Instead of me having to look out, you know, being on the lookout for jobs and stuff, and a bit more laid back and uh, yeah, trying something new. And so I'd be like up on the boom lift, like fixing like fascia boards and stuff, and I knew how to run like a boom lift, so that was kind of like my like, oh, we could use you for this and help run a crew and do this sort of thing. And yeah, and so that ended up being the job site that I got a call when I was up like 60 feet on a boom lift, and they're like, hey, we want to offer you a record deal. And I was like, let me get down from my boom lift into my truck so I can hear you properly. But but my buddies Riley and Brad, like they're so great through this whole process, um, because they were literally from with me. I've known them for ages, but it was like they're like some of my best friends that you know, when I had to leave and go do shows and all that, like they'd be covering my butt. They, you know, it was a very flexible job that I was doing, that it was like they were so supportive of like, man, you go do your thing, like we got this covered back home. And so yeah, it was pretty cool. And then it got to the point of like, I'm not gonna come back. Yeah, I gotta hit the road. And it was especially when things opened up from COVID that it was like, oh, now I have to be a full-time musician because we've got all these opportunities and stuff lined up. So yeah,
What a journey.
I don't regret doing music full time now.
What a journey. Man, I hope you're like putting journals together and writing stuff, because this is like a Disney movie just waiting to happen.
Yeah, I'm like Cinderella finally getting to go to the ball.
Well, speaking of the ball is Halifax, and that's where we have
Oh
to head
yeah.
out to. Just curious, are you doing any shows or anything out there while you're there? Do we know if you're going to be on the broadcast or perform on the dinner portion the night before the broadcast? What's going on?
Performing opportunities, not sure yet.
Okay.
Could be none, could be some. I have no clue. But I do know that we're doing a Juno block party with James Barker Band and like Sasha and a few other artists. And so, um, yeah, I believe that's on like the Saturday. I
Yeah.
think. I
Yeah,
yeah.
I talked to James just before you actually, and he gave me the whole rundown on what's going to be happening. So
Oh, sick. All right. Yeah. So that's all I know so far is doing the block party. But I'm just staying tuned to find out if there's anything else, and if not, I'm happy with that, and just excited to be at the freaking Junos with the nomination. So
yeah, definitely. What happens after the Junos? Back on the road, because I know we're starting to get into festival season.
yeah, after Junos, I'm home for not very long. I'm home for like maybe a week, and then I'm on the road out to Vermilion, Alberta, I believe, with Tim Hicks. And so we got a show out there that's going to be fun. And then I get home for a day and then jump on a bus, and me, Sean Austin, and Andrew Hyatt start our country mixtape tour across Canada. So that's going to be fun.
That's going to be amazing. Look, man, I'm going to let you go, but I want to say congratulations on this. Like I said, it just feels like what a crazy ass journey. I'm so glad that I've been here to be able to follow it, record it, talk to you about it, and see where the outcome comes. And the best part is, it's not done yet. Win or lose, man, you are definitely a winner. I'm so happy with the way your career has progressed and the way you represent not just Canadian country music, but Canadian music in general.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. And honestly, like we're moving on to a whole other new chapter. And I've got a new management company and distribution deal and all this stuff. And it's like this feels like we're, you know, flipping to a whole new chapter of, we're calling it Tyler Joe 2.0.
I
Brand new
love it.
single out too that I just put out this last week. So we got that as the next chapter, and so it's called Broken Man, and that's out everywhere now, and I think goes to country radio today. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm just realizing that now, that I'm like, oh shoot.
You got enough to worry about, man. Look, man, have a safe
So
trip
much.
into to Halifax. Fingers are crossed and congratulations.
Thanks very much, man. Appreciate it.